Welcome everybody to Pokemon SoulSilver! Starting off with Chikorita. We got bios now. Yeah, you can see how much work I've put into this. A pure grass type throughout its entire evolution, and it's the hardest of this trio to raise. Simply because it is a pure grass type, making it weak to 5 types throughout the entire game permanently. Along with that, most of the gym leaders in this region have your weakness, so you're not using Chikorita a lot for those fights. It's mostly a support Pokemon, being surprisingly tanky, and it's mostly there for support such as using Reflect, using Light Screen. It can use Powder moves. It's a pretty good support Pokemon. I would say if you want to use this, use it as a challenge, because this thing is the hardest one to raise, which is kind of ironic considering, well, the previous games in the series. Totodile stays as a pure water type throughout its entire evolution. It's a really good physical attacker. Now, don't get me wrong, I love water types, and this one's no exception. Only weak to 2 types throughout its entire lifespan, and it learns a huge variety of different type moves such as Crunch, Ice Fang, even Superpower. Just keep in mind that it's not meant to be a special attacker, so it does kind of lose points on that because most water types are really good special attackers, but this one's a great option if you're wanting to just roll with a water type. Really good one for beginners as well, since it learns so many different types of moves. Just make sure you get a physical attacking one, just don't have a minus attack stat on that. Cyndaquil, my favorite of the bunch. Stays as a pure fire type throughout its entire evolution. It's surprisingly a really good mixed attacker, but most of its moves are special attacks, so I highly recommend making this a special attacker if you can. It also exploits a lot of the gym leader's weaknesses throughout the game, so it's a really good choice if you just want to blast through everything. Along with that, it learns some really good moves such as Flamethrower, Focus Blast. It can learn some pretty crazy stuff. However, keep in mind that its move pool is not that diverse. It mostly learns fire-type moves with the occasional other type mixed in. So, just keep in mind that you're mostly using fire-type moves on this thing, unless if you're using TMs. TMs do help this thing out a lot. Starting our bios is Sentret. It's a really weak normal type. I'm not much of a fan of Sentret. While it does evolve into the ever-so-lovable, memeable Furret, it's just not that great. It has decent abilities, but again, it's just not really that great of a Pokemon. It's okay at best. If anything, its ability of Runaway is nice, I guess, but that's about it. Pidgey, finally get to talk about you. A fast and decently strong normal type Pokemon, or normal flying type, I should say. While it's a very standard flying type Pokemon, it can hit hard with moves such as Wing Attack and Return. Since it is part normal, Return would do amazing on it. However, its move pool is really bad, and Pidgey's final evolution is mostly a mixed attacker, so you're kind of dealing with weird cards there when it comes to Pidgey. So just be wary of its strengths and weaknesses. Otherwise, it's not bad. Starting off to another Pokemon, which, yeah, I'll just keep going through the bios, is Rattata. Rattata is a really good early game normal type Pokemon. It has a really huge physical attack stat for what it is, and can learn some really hard-hitting moves like Hyper Fang and Bite. And since it's so fast, it could be a pretty good sweeper. However, it does fall off later in-game because of the lack of coverage that it has, so you do want to kind of be careful with it. Otherwise, it's not a bad Pokemon to start with. There it is, Geodude, an extremely tanky rock and ground type Pokemon. It could be a really good powerhouse. Learns some really destructive moves like Double Edge, Stone Edge, Earthquake. It's really good for that. Despite this, however, it is weak to 6 types, 2 of them being quad weaknesses. In total, it's weak to Ice, Fighting, Ground, Steel, quad weak to Grass, and Water. So, I will warn you that if you are going to use this, avoid its Sturdy ability. Sturdy is really bad because it only protects against one-hit KO moves, not just any move that could kill it outright. That's stuff like Fissure and Cheer Cold. So, definitely go for Rockhead, for it does play into the whole Double Edge strat. Only other bad thing is that you do have to trade to evolve it to its final evolution. Otherwise, it's a good Pokemon. I've used it before. It's actually not that bad. Yes, it is Spearow. A more offensive version of Pidgey, it's a fast, normal flying type that can deal some good damage. While hard to raise, you can get moves on it such as Return and Drill Peck, and it can tear through enemies just like that. However, keep in mind that while it is more more attack-oriented than Pidgey, it is a lot weaker in its defenses, so just keep in mind of that. It's a good option if you don't want to use just a standard Pidgey for a flyer. There's one more Pokemon we can catch here, but it's only at nighttime, and that is Hoot Hoot. Hoot Hoot has, another really weird flyer. It has a high HP stat, and it's a pretty good specially defensive Pokemon, weirdly enough. Its whole gimmick is to be really annoying. It learns a weird variety of psychic and flying moves, and its main strategy is to set up confusion and hypnosis so that it can safely use Reflect and Dream Eater. However, it has really bad physical defenses, and it's slower than most of the flyers you'll see in this game. So keep that in mind that if you're going to use it, be aware of its lack of physical defense, which most Pokemon in this game are physical attackers, so just be wary of that. Only shows up at nighttime, as I said. Is Weedle. Exclusive to Pokemon SoulSilver for now. Keep that in mind for Heart Gold players. It is a bug-type Pokemon after all. It's a more, I guess, I don't know. I really don't know how to describe it. It's a more offensive version of Caterpie, if anything. It's not a bad Pokemon, though. Poison Bug can be annoying, and its fully evolved form is really early on in the game. You can get you can fully evolve that thing before even reaching the first gym if you want. So, its final evolution can be pretty good for that. However, as with all bug types, it is really weak. It has really bad defenses. Bug types are really weak in general. I guess it's nice that it has the added poison, but besides that, I really just would not recommend using a Weedle. By extension of Weedle, you have Kakuna. It's basically the counterpart of Metapod for this route. In Heart Gold, you would find Metapod here, but I'll talk about them in a second. Kakuna is just the evolved form of Weedle. If you want to skip its evolution and try to get a rarer Kakuna, there you go. Kakuna is actually harder to raise because it only has Harden, so keep that in mind. As for Heart Gold players, you can find Caterpies here. Caterpie is just a really weak bug-type Pokemon. However, its fully evolved form turns into a bug flying type and has some pretty good moves like Bug Buzz and Powder moves. However, it remains weak throughout its entire evolution, so just keep that in mind. It's kind of the same deal as the Weedle and Kakuna line in this place. As extended with Metapod, it has the same problem as Kakuna in that if you catch them here, you have no attacking moves, so I really don't recommend catching one of those here unless if you're going for a living dex. Just get a Weedle or / Caterpie and just evolve it into the Kakuna / Metapod. Leddyba is exclusive to Pokemon SoulSilver, and this thing just sucks. It is a really bad bug flying type, and while it does have an evolution and does get a weird move of Comet Punch, it's just, again, it's another really weak bug Pokemon that just sucks. I guess the nice thing is that it does evolve at level 18, and that it has the ability Swarm, which is basically a bug-type version of Blaze. I just wouldn't recommend it. And Heart Gold players, at nighttime, you can find Spinarak here. Spinarak is a lot better than Leddyba. Also, I forgot to mention that Leddyba is exclusive in the morning for SoulSilver players. Spinarak, while incredibly weak, is actually really good once it evolves. Stays as a bug poison type throughout its entire evolution. It gets ooh, we finally got Ember, yay! It gets a pretty decent attack stat and learns pretty good physical moves like Poison Jab and Sucker Punch. And it has an exclusive move at this point called Spider Web, which is bug-type Mean Look. I would say its bug moves does suck, and it is weak to a lot of types due to it being a bug type, but it's definitely a big improvement compared to Leddyba. I'm actually jealous of Heart Gold players for that. Zubat. It's a classic poison flying type that is really good once you get it with good moves, at least. Using it right off the gate sucks. I'm sorry, Zubat sucks at the very beginning. However, once it starts getting Wing Attack, case in point here, it becomes a really good powerhouse. Poison Flying's a great typing, and Zubat's fully evolved form is extremely fast. It learns really good moves such as U-Turn, Cross Poison, Wing Attack. Its ability of Inner Focus makes it even better since, you never have to worry about it flinching. It's really nice. Just keep in mind that if you are going to raise this thing, try not to get it killed a lot because its full evolution requires happiness. And at a 1% chance, you can find Dunsparce. It's not good. It's a pure normal type that doesn't have really any stats to show for it. It's just... mostly it's just a tank with no moves to really use. It's just not good. Just don't waste your time with it. Bellsprouts. Despite its weak stage, it's actually a really good when it fully evolves. It's kind of like Zubat's situation. It's Grass Poison type, which is a really good typing. Carries really good resistances while having good coverage moves like Sludge Bomb and Leaf Blade eventually. It's also a mixed attacker, so you can use it either as a physical attacker or a special attacker if you still wish. However, its level up pool is really bad, so you'll have to resort to TMs to get its true potential out. Along with that, you'll have to find a Leaf Stone somewhere. We'll find sources of that later to fully evolve the thing, so just keep that in mind. Onyx is a stupidly tanky rock and ground type with really good speed, actually. In this instance, he's really helpful for taking down the gym since this gym here is all flying types. Besides that, there's not a lot of great moves for it for a long time, so it's kind of weird. And I will say that evolving it is usually a pain. However, there will be something later on in the game that will allow us to get its evolved form, so don't worry about that for right now. I'd say only pick this up if you're going to use Chikorita for this gym, or just have something against flying types. Slugma! We're going to get into its bio real quick. Slugma is only obtainable here of all places, not until post-game. This is the only chance you get to get it, and honestly, why would you? It's not horrible. Here's the thing. It's a good tanky rock-fire type, but its rock-fire type weaknesses are horrible. Carrying quite a few weaknesses and 2 quad weaknesses that are very apparent in this game, that being ground and water. It's really slow, and it just doesn't bring much to the table as a fire type. There's better fire types in this game that will get not too far into the future. But however, if you're going for all the Pokemon in the decks or anything like that, the earliest chance you get to have Slugma is here. So, there you go. Ekans! Exclusive in the wild in SoulSilver here. It's actually not a bad poison type. It has good attack stat with decent stats all around. And weirdly enough, it can learn all of the elemental fangs, that being Ice Fang, Thunder Fang, Fire Fang. However, they have to be taught to him, and that's not until the last town in this region, so you're going to be stuck with his normal move pool for a while. For Heart Gold players, there will be a chance to get this Pokemon later, but honestly, it's not really that great to go after. Its move pool is very limited, and it struggles throughout the game as a result. So, however, I will give it some points of being able to have the ability Intimidate, which is a very sought-after ability, so there's that. Hoppip is a really bad Pokemon. It's a grass-flying type, which you would think would be nice, but its stats are horrible. While its full evolved form is speedy and specially defensive, its only gimmick is using drain moves and setting up spores and powders. There's really nothing happening for it. In fact, I think this is just a worse Chikorita. It's just really bad. I guess there is the benefit of it being able to have the ability Chlorophyll, which does raise its speed during sunshine, but even then, you have to set up a turn for it, and it's already fast as it is, so there's really just no point in using this thing. There we go! Finally found you! Mareep is a very solid pure electric type Pokemon. It's a great special attacker when it's fully evolved, and it's a good tank. The only bad thing is that its move pool is very limited, so most end up with a very standard moveset compared to all the other ones. But It's just a really solid electric type in a region where there's only like 3 electric types to choose from. So, I highly recommend it, and a lot of people do use this thing normally. Along with that, it has a really nice ability of static, so it's pretty good against physical attackers as well. That being Wooper, everyone's favorite axolotl. A water ground type, it only carries 1 weakness of grass. It's a great offensive and defensive Pokemon that can learn really good moves like Earthquake. However, you're going to need TMs to use this thing's fullest capabilities, so along with that, it's mostly a physical attacker, which is odd for water types because, well, most water types use special moves, so there is that. Ghastly, only found at nighttime. It's a poison ghost type that becomes a really speedy special sweeper. It's a really nice attacker in that case. It's incredibly overpowered, especially since it retains its ability of levitate in this generation, and it's just super awkward to deal with because of its typing. Its only weakness is being something it can take care of. Along with that, it learns a wide variety of moves such as Shadow Ball, Psychic, even Focus Blast. Be aware that while it's not frail, it's not very well known for its defense, so do be aware that it can still be knocked down. It's just incredibly fast and can knock down an entire team easily. Starting with Unknown. Unknown is a really weird Pokemon. So, here's the thing. These things suck. However, if you look on the tiny little bottom screen, they do give a pretty decent amount of XP. So, it's a pure Psychic type, and they only learn the move of Hidden Power. Hidden Power is a move that is... it's weird. It turns into a random type depending on what the user is using. So, for example, for Hidden Power, one Unknown may have Hidden Power Bug, while the other one may have Hidden Power Dark. It just depends on personality traits and other random things to it. However, Unknown is just really bad. They're not a really good Pokemon, especially since they only learn Hidden Power. Maybe in the very beginning they're not bad, but I just don't recommend it. There's better Psychic types out there, not too far into the future either, so. All with Magikarp. It's the common fodder of, well, water types. This thing is horrible. It doesn't learn an attacking move until level, I believe, 15, and that's only Tackle. It is horrible. It only knows Splash, which doesn't attack anything. It doesn't do anything. So, the problem with this thing is that you're pretty much required to switch train this thing until it evolves at level 20. However, once it does evolve, it is a monster. It learns some really good moves like Ice Fang and Waterfall. It's a really good physical attacking water type. I mean, and plus Gyarados is classic for a reason. Water flying type is a pretty good offensive typing as well. Just keep in mind of its quad weaknesses to electric, and it's just really good. I highly recommend it, but there will be a better chance to get a Gyarados in the future, so if you just want to skip doing that whole switch train thing, there's your option there. Next up is another, well, more rare spawn, Tentacool. It's a great water poison type that's high in special defense and good speed. For once, it's actually a water type Pokemon that is a special attacker. Finally. Its move pool is limited, but with TMs, it can be a pretty good water type if you don't want to use the common ones. Along with that, it does have pretty good abilities. One of them being Clear Body, which just completely negates stat reduction, so if you have a problem against your stats getting lowered, use this thing. Or, even better, well, maybe not even better, but another really good one is Liquid Ooze, which pretty much just nullifies drain moves like Drain Punch and Giga Drain, and just causes damage to the foe regardless. It's really nice, and it's actually a good water poison type, and poison's a really good defensive typing besides, well, Psychic being a thing, but it gives it its neutrality against grass type, so it's a pretty good water poison type if you want to use one. Quillfish. Quillfish is another water poison type, and at this point in the game, it's extremely rare because the old rod sucks. It's not nearly as good as Tentacool. Mainly, for one, it doesn't have an evolution at all, and it's mostly gimmicky with moves like Minimize and Harden. It's not a horrible Pokemon by any means, but there's a lot of better options. I guess it's nice that it can get the ability of Poison Point, but you're better off with Tentacool if you're going down this route. Sandshrew. Sandshrew is a decently good physical attacker and a decent tank when it evolves. It's not horrible as people make it out to be. It's a decent ground type move that can do what it needs to do. It's not horrible. It does learn decent moves, but a lot of them don't take advantage of its typing at all. So TMs are going to be what saves this thing. Along with that, if you want a pretty decent build with this thing and just go full on tank, give it the Iron Ball and give it Gyro Ball for its move. It can do some pretty damaging stuff, along with the fact that it can learn Sword Stance as well, so it can learn some pretty good stuff. It's not a bad Pokemon. SoulSilver players, you will have a later chance of actually getting this thing, so don't worry about it too much if you want it that badly. Goldeen. Goldeen, yeah, well, I really don't know what to really say about Goldeen. It's not horrible by any means. Don't get me wrong. Goldeen's not that bad. However, it's just really weird. Its stats are okay, learns some powerful moves like Waterfall and Mega Horn, but the problem with it is that there's just other water types that does its job better. At least it can get the ability of Water Veil, but how are you going to get burned with this thing of all things? Like, come on, you're not going to get burned, so I wouldn't worry about this too much. There's other water types that I think are better than this, so just personally, I wouldn't worry about it. But if you're going for all the Pokemon, well, worry about it. Our egg is hatching. Before it turns into Togepi. Togepi, okay, here's the thing with Togepi. It's not horrible, but its evolutions are. Togepi, while being Gen 4, does have access to a new evolution. However, that new evolution will not be gained until the post-game. Actually, the double post-game. You'll see that more later. I'm actually gonna back out of that real quick. Yeah, I'll just show the text on screen. So, Togepi is very frail. It's a very frail normal type Pokemon, and it's just very underwhelming. It learns very poor moves, and offensively it is just horrible. If you get a Shiny Stone, however, which again is not until post-game, you'll know what I'm talking about later, it then becomes a stupidly good powerhouse. However, it's unlikely for you to get the Shiny Stone without trading from Diamond, Pearl, or Platinum, so pretty much you're just stuck with a really weak Pokemon. And along with that, it does require full happiness to evolve into the next evolution, so there's also that caveat. Well, Slowpoke. Weirdly, a great water psychic type that doesn't require a trait evolution to make it great. It can take care of a lot of types thanks to its unique typing, and it learns a lot of really good moves such as Surf and Psychic. Keep in mind that it is an actual special attacking water type for once, but its Slowbro evolution focuses on physical defense while Slowking focuses on special defense, so you do have those two options to if you want to choose how defensive your Pokemon will become. Along with that, it's just a really good Pokemon. Learns a lot of solid moves, and it's tanky either way with its evolutions, so I do highly recommend it. Slowpoke is a really good Pokemon. Just remember that it is kind of, well, slow, hence the name, so you do have to work with its speed. Otherwise, it's a great Pokemon. Highly recommend it. Paris. Paris. Also, you can look on the bottom screen. Your whole gimmick is turning a Farfetch'd on its back. You have to sneak up behind the Farfetch'd, and it reacts to noise. Anyways, Paris sucks. It is one of the worst Pokemon in history. It's a bug grass type, which doesn't sound bad until you realize that it means it's quad weak to fire, so never send this thing out in front of a fire type. And it does have some decent moves because of, well, it has the powder moves, it has false swipe. It's a good catching Pokemon. It's a good Pokemon to use for catching other Pokemon. However, its abilities create just a terrible Pokemon. If you get one with Effect Spore. This makes it to where you can find, you can make it to where if Pokemon have physical contact with the thing, then it can pass on a Paralysis Poison or paralysis Poison, and I think that's it, or Burn. I can't remember. Or sleep, that's what it is, sleep. However, if you get this thing with dry skin, granted, it makes it to where it's immune to water moves, it halves the damage it takes from water moves, which is, I guess, okay, because it's already resistant to water, so hey, might as well be almost a tank to water types. However, the caveat of that is it becomes doubly weak to fire. Therefore, this is the only Pokemon in history thus far that has an Octo weakness. It is Octo weak to fire with dry skin, because it's already quad weak and the ability makes it even weaker. Just don't use this thing. Don't. It's not good. It's not worth it. There's way better bug types. There's way better grass types. Just not worth it. It's Oddish. Oddish is a much better grass type than the previously mentioned Paris. It's a poison grass type that can get a lot of good moves. It learns a lot of the powder moves. It can get some good TMs through its move pool. And it can be a really good HM user. Along with that, it has a decent ability of Chlorophyll, so if you want to use this as a Sunshine Shatter, Sunshine Shatter, what? Sunshine Setter, that's what I was trying to say, then you can. Along with that, it has a split evolution if you want to choose between a Vileplume or a Bellossom. Starting off with Heracross. Heracross is one of the best bug-type Pokemon ever. I love Heracross. It can only be found in specific trees in Azalea Town and in other places. This thing is a physical monster, a bug fighting type. It can nuke teams if it just desires to. It learns really good moves like Close Combat, Brick Break, and Mega Horn. That's only the tip of the iceberg. While it can have the ability of Swarm, which is good in its own right, it can also get the ability Guts, which doubles its attack power if afflicted with a status ailment, essentially making it ignoring burn, basically making it to where it can ignore the side effect of burn and will just nuke everything if it's poisoned or paralyzed. Give this thing a Toxic Orb and you have something quite overpowered. However, keep in mind that it is quad weak to flying and it is weak to psychic, so it's not going to be a good bug type for those cases. Along with that, it is hard to find. It has a low capture rate and it has a low chance of appearing. I got really lucky for this one to appear. Find a new Pokemon of Aipom. Many Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum players would be very familiar with this Pokemon. It's great in those games for it can learn each of the elemental punch moves. It's a really fast physical sweeper, and it can learn a wide variety of moves through tutors, I should say. However, Heart Gold and SoulSilver has the caveat of being incredibly bad with move tutors. There's only one move tutor in this entire game, and it's just the relearner, and that's not until the final town of the game, so mine is voice crack. So, unless if you want to swap it over to Platinum and just get it the elemental moves, you're going to be stuck with powerful moves like Return and Brick Break for a long time. So, that is why I like Aipom, but I would just substitute with a different normal type. There's other normal types that are better than this thing just for this game. Otherwise, I'd try messing around with it, especially since now it can have its new evolution of Ambipom. Butterfree, which is just the fully evolved version of Caterpie, only there in Heart Gold, so if you want to see more specifics, just go back to the bios on those two way back when, I think it was like episode 2 or 3. Butterfree's not bad, but at this point in the game, it's starting to fall off, so I just would not use it. I don't like it. It has good abilities, but it's okay. Beedrill, on the other hand, which can only be found in SoulSilver, can also be found in Ilex Forest through Headbutts. Same kind of deal with Butterfree. At this point in the game, it's not that helpful. It has a nice typing of Bug and Poison, but that's about it. Another one being Pineco. Found in trees in Ilex Forest through Headbutt, it is a stupidly tanky bug type that turns into a Bug Steel type when evolved. This thing is a perfect Toxic Staller, making it really tanky with Iron Defense and setting up Toxic. It can also remove its own effects with Rapid Spin and, at worst case scenario, use Explosion when it's low HP. Needless to say, it's not meant to be an attacker, it's more of a gimmicky Pokemon that does its job really well. However, it can also weirdly learn Zap Cannon. I don't even know why it can learn that, but it can. Unfortunately, it does have the ability of Sturdy, which in this generation is just garbage, so its ability is essentially useless. Recommended for those who wants to change their playstyle and use something like a tank. Another one is Noctowl. I'm poisoned. Noctowl is kind of the same along the lines of Hoot-Hoot, it's just a better Hoot-Hoot. Like, it likes to do Hypnosis, then Confusion, and then just spam Dream Eater to both keep its keep its health up, but also deal damage over time. Very gimmicky. I wouldn't really recommend using a Noctowl for any means. It's there if you want to use it. Execute. Execute is... Here's the thing. It evolves into a really stupidly good Grass and Psychic type. It's a really good Pokemon once it's fully evolved. Give it Sunny Day and Psychic, and because of its ability of Chlorophyll, it will be stupidly fast, and nothing would be able to outspeed it, at least most Pokemon wouldn't be able to. And plus, it's pretty tanky and is a really good special attacker. However, the Pokemon is not the problem, it's obtaining its evolution item that's the problem. The Leaf Stone will not be seen until later. There's a chance of getting it after the next gym, but at this point in the game, it's really hard to raise because it's weak and you don't have access to its full evolution for a while, so there is that caveat if you're going to use one. Out in the grass in this route, you can find Drowsy. Pure Psychic type, it's a weirdly defensive Pokemon. Besides being annoying with Confuse Ray and Hypnosis, it's just a very generic psychic type that just learns really basic moves. It's a solid Pokemon, but there's a better option here that you can find, and it's just not that great. It's not very creative. It's just use a Psychic and that's all it does. The other Psychic type that I wanted to mention is Abra. It's a rare spawn, and it will always be level 10 when you find this thing, but weirdly enough, it is one of the strongest psychic types in history. It is stupidly good. Now granted, catching it is a bit of a pain, because first turn it will always use Teleport, which is essentially a runaway move. So, if you're going to try to catch this thing, use, your highest rated balls, and I would honestly just save near the grass and soft reset until you find one. If you are able to catch one though, you have a stupidly good psychic type. It learns a wide variety of moves like Thunderbolt, Shadow Ball, Focus Blast, through TMs at least. It can also naturally learn Psychic. It is a great Pokemon, and I highly recommend trying it out. However, again, just keep in mind that it is hard to find, and its defenses are not that solid, so you are going to have to worry about that for a while. Last Pokemon you can find on this route is Ditto. Ditto is another rare spawn, but not nearly as annoying as Abra. Ditto's whole gimmick is being able to copy what your lead is and turning into that Pokemon, essentially giving it the stats and moves that that Pokemon has. It can be anything you want it to be technically, however, I would not recommend this thing. For battling, I should say. It's a very big gimmick with battling, and it's just not that good for battling. However, for a mechanic we're going to be seeing later, you definitely want to grab this thing for breeding. For Ditto is the best breeding Pokemon you can ever have. Ditto, since it can transform into anything, can be used to breed with any Pokemon in the game that's not a legendary or a mythical. So, if you just want to breed down earlier evolutions of a specific Pokemon, or you're looking for a specific ability, use Ditto. It's great for that. Machop is a pure fighting type that becomes a powerhouse throughout its evolution. It's a weirdly tough Pokemon to find in this game as well, and can be a great member just for this gym. However, be aware that its final evolution is locked behind a trade, but in this trade, it does come holding the Macho Brace, which is a nice bonus. Along with that, if you can get it with the ability of No Guard, it is quite overpowered, it makes it to where it can never miss, but opposing Pokemon can never miss it. So, it's a double-edged sword, but you give it some really powerful moves like Rock Slide or something like that, it can tear through everything. So, just keep in mind that if you want to fully have this thing at its peak, you have to trade for it. So, a whole new Pokemon here is Dratini. Dratini is a pseudo-legendary for a reason. It is a pure dragon type for now that turns into a dragon flying type and is notoriously busted. It has a monstrous physical attack with good special attack, basically making it anything you want. Along with that, it has a massive move pool, making it stupidly unpredictable. At this point in the game, it's also stupidly overpowered because it comes with Dragon Rage, which instantly takes off 40 HP on a Pokemon. However, unless if you want to drive yourself insane or really like the Minesweeper game, I would not recommend it here. There's a better place for it to get it, and with less RNG bullshit. Nidoran Male. Nidoran Male is really good. It's a pure poison type that will eventually turn into a poison ground type. It can be really good and really powerful in that fact. Male Nidorans turn into a physical powerhouse, making it really good against, well, other things that are weak to physical attacks. Learns some really good attacking moves, and it's just overall a good Pokemon. However, keep in mind that its common weakness is water, so it may be weird, but hey, you gotta keep in mind of its ground weakness. It's ground typing. Along with Nidoran Male, you can find Nidoran Female. Its counterpart to the male version, Nidoran Female is a more balanced Pokemon, having more balanced stats and is a little more tanky than the physical powerhouse that the male Nidorans are. Otherwise, it's essentially the same Pokemon. Learns very similar moves, has the same exact typings, it's just different stats. So, there you go if you want to use a Nidoran Female, evolves the same way. At a 1% chance in the grass here, you can find a Yanma. Yanma, I would say, normally is horrible because it's a bug flying type. However, it's actually really good, especially in this generation now that it has its new evolution of Yanmega. It is incredibly frail because of its stats and typing, but once it evolves after learning Ancient Power, which isn't until level 33 by the way, it gets the ability of Speed Boost, which it can have the ability of Speed Boost, which ups its speed every single turn. A very sought after ability and can be really destructive. Along with that, it can learn some pretty good moves like Bug Buzz and Extreme Speed, weirdly enough. So, it's a good Pokemon. And especially since it has its evolution, it can be really good. Just keep in mind that, 1% chance, good luck finding that thing. Being Sunkern. God, no. Here's the thing. I may have trashed on Paris, but at least Paris is better than this. I'm not kidding. Sunkern is a pure grass type that literally has the worst stat distribution of any Pokemon in history. It has the least amount of base stats possible. Its main gimmick is setting up Sunny Day and then just spamming Solar Beam. In which case, so many other Pokemon do it better. Friggin' Hoppip does that better. So, I guess it's nice if you want to have something with solar power, which boosts its special attack during the sun, but it also has the caveat of lowering its HP each turn in sunlight, so it's even more of a liability issue. So, and to add things to the top of the cake, you have to have a Sunstone to fully evolve this thing, which is kind of annoying to get at this point in the game. So, just don't go for Sunkern. There's literally nothing useful for it. 1. Venonat. A bug poison type, its evolved form is actually not terrible. It's known for setting up powders and using weird moves like Psychic. It's actually a pretty decent bug poison type that can do some good. However, due to its, first evolution, it is very difficult to use and to get up to its evolution, especially since that its evolution level is pretty steep. So, there's better bug types out there, but Venonat's not a bad one. I do recommend it. Another Pokemon we can find in here is Scyther. Scyther is a great bug flying type, one of the few good bug type Pokemon in this game. It has a great evolution that's more easily, well, obtainable nowadays. It's stupidly fast and can deal really good damage. Especially when evolved, it of all forms replaces its flying type for a steel type, making it stupid tanky, and hello other Pokemon that I'll talk about in a second. It can be a monster. Along with that, thanks to its ability of Swarm, it basically has bug type Blaze. So, I do recommend it. On screen here, we have Pinsir. This thing is basically the counterpart to Heracross. It is a stupidly physically strong bug type. It is massively destructive. It can learn Sword Stance, X-Scissor, and yeah, it's just a really good pick against Psychic types. However, do keep in mind that it's restricted to one bug move and a bunch of normal and fighting moves for its entire lifespan. Along with that, it naturally has a bunch of weaknesses due to its pure bug typing, so do be aware of that. Growlithe. Growlithe is a notorious Pokemon. He is a great pure fire type that can be a really good mixed sweeper. Learning moves like Flamethrower and Extreme Speed naturally, it's a great powerhouse as a fire type. Especially if you didn't choose Cyndaquil. It's a really good replacement Cyndaquil if you need to have a fire type. Just keep in mind that you do need a Firestone to evolve the thing fully, so at earliest you're going to be grinding a little bit in the Pokeathlon. As for SoulSilver players, you'll instead get Vulpix here. It's a more especially defensive tank compared to Growlithe, however, it does have a very limited move pool and basically learns nothing new when evolved, so it is a little tougher to raise as a result. However, that doesn't mean it's bad. It is pretty tanky and it does have the nice ability of Flash Fire, so it essentially does give it an immunity to fire type moves. Otherwise, it is a worse Growlithe. It learns a little bit more things than Growlithe does, but you just gotta kind of be careful with it. It is a little bit frail on the physical side of things. I just got critted by a Kadabra. I hate this game. Otherwise, it's not bad. The last new Pokemon that you can find on this route is Stantler, at a weirdly rare spawn. It is a strangely powerful physical attacking normal type. It's mostly there to be annoying by spamming Stomp and well, it basically just flinch locks you to death and can use Hypnosis with Confuse Ray. So, while it can be good in the early game, it does get outclassed by later Pokemon, and later Pokemon that's not too far into the future. So, I guess it's nice for the ability of Intimidate as well, but I just personally wouldn't use this thing. Sudowoodo. It's a tanky rock type that can learn some pretty good damaging moves like Rock Slide and Hammer Arm. However, its move pool is very limiting. Its typing makes it really awkward against other types as well, since rock types have a lot of weaknesses. It's not terrible, it is outclassed by other Pokemon. So, I would say it's good for Rockhead, I guess. There's really not much to say with this thing. Pidgeotto. It's the evolved form of Pidgey. It's convenient if you're gonna wait on getting a Pidgey, I guess, if you're gonna use that evolutionary line. Honestly, I would have just had the Pidgey at this point. You probably would have had Pidgeotto at this point already, so I guess it's nice if you want to go and get it, but yeah, it's not bad. Just why would you get it here now? Getting it to Eevee now. Also, I apologize for the bio here because I had no idea how to show its evolutionary lines. And you're maybe saying, well, there's two missing. I'll get into that in a second. Eevee is one of the most popular Pokemon for a very good reason. It's a great Pokemon for those who need to fill a dedicated typing. Since it does evolve into 7 different types, it can be almost anything you wish it to be. However, in this game specifically, Glaceon and Leafeon are completely unobtainable without trading to Diamond, Pearl, or Platinum. The evolutionary steps for that is just not in this game, so that is why you only see Flareon, Vaporeon, Jolteon, Umbreon, and Espeon. As for whatever you want to turn it into, it could be really good. If you want to be a speedy physical attacker, Jolteon's your way to go. If you wanted to be a tanky special attacker, Vaporeon's the way to go. Or if you just want complete offense for special attacks, Espeon. Or if you just want a complete tank, Umbreon. Or if you just want a really bad Pokemon, Flareon. So unfortunately, Flareon's just really not good. However, do keep in mind that it does evolve from a lot of the stones, either that or happiness, so unless if you got the Sooth Bell or if you have all the stones, just make sure you have that equipped for whatever you want to turn this thing into. If you fish in this water here, there's a 5% chance you can find a Poliwag here. Poliwag is really good. It's a great water type with a lot of options. Following its Poliwrath evolution, it becomes a balanced physical attacker that learns some really dumb stuff like Belly Drum and Body Slam. Also gives it its typing of water fighting, so it's actually really nice. On the other side, with its Politoed evolution, it's a great competitive Pokemon that is basically a specially oriented version of Poliwrath. It can get some pretty good stuff like Rain Dance. It learns some pretty good moves as well. However, for Politoed, you do have to trade while holding a King's Rock, which there's only one source of that right now, and that's all the way back at the Pokeathlon Dome. Otherwise, for Poliwrath, you have to get a Water Stone to even evolve that thing. So there's that. Of Coughing. Besides being famous in a certain Pokemon Crystal LP, hint hint, wink wink, nudge nudge, it's actually a really good Pokemon. It's a pure poison type with Levitate, so it only has the one weakness of Psychic. It's also a really good physical tank that learns good poison type moves like Sludge Bomb or even last resort moves like Explosion. Along with that, it has a really wide TM move pool, making it a really good fixed type attacker. The only bad thing with it is that it does evolve late in its evolution at level 35, so it is going to be a little tough to raise for a bit, but it's not a bad Pokemon, especially in Gen 4. It has a lot of good access to good moves, so I'd give it a shot one day. Another new Pokemon we can find here and we actually ran into earlier is Raticate. It's the evolved form of Rattata. It's good for those who want to skip Rattata's evolution and just get a powerful Raticate right off the gate. Give it a return and you can destroy a lot of things with it. And along with that, it has a really nice, can have the really nice ability of Guts, which is a very sought after ability. However, in the next route, there's literally a normal type that will just trump this thing. So do keep in mind if you're wanting a normal type right now. Magmar, which is only found in the basement level here. Despite it being a fire type, and there's not a lot of fire types out there, it's actually not horrible. It has pretty mixed offenses and decent speed. It can be a good choice if you're not going to use a Growlithe or chose not to use a Cyndaquil. It mainly learns fire moves, so there's not much variety in its moveset. However, the main problem with this thing is it is impossible to get its fully evolved form in the main game without trading to Diamond, Pearl, or Platinum. So just keep that in mind if you plan on using this thing and expecting to be able to use its fully new evolved form of Magmortar. Magnemite. It is a great electric steel type. It is a monster of a special attacker, and since it has the coverage of steel type, it has very few weaknesses. Well, quad weakness to ground, yes, but it resists a lot of things, making it immune to poison as well. This thing can cover a lot of ground. Along with that, it gets really good moves of Discharge and Thunder Wave. However, a lot of the moves that you're going to have to teach this thing rely on TMs. Along with that, it's impossible to get this thing's full evolution of Magnezone since there's no magnetic area within Heart Gold and Soul Silver. So, unless if you were going to trade it over to Diamond, Pearl, or Platinum, you're going to miss out on having a Magnezone, unfortunately. However, that doesn't mean it's bad. Magneton can hold its own very well, and again, Electric Steel is just a really good typing, so I still highly recommend it. Another new Pokemon you can find here is Farfetch'd. No. Dear God, no. It is a normal flying type that doesn't do anything special. It is just really bad. It has an okay attack, really bad defenses, has a really mediocre move pool. It's just not good. There's plenty of other normal flying types that does its job far better, and you could have gotten it way earlier on, such as freaking Pidgey. Another new Pokemon we can get here is Miltank. Miltank, as we've seen from Whitney's team, is stupidly tanky. It is meant to stall fights and heal itself through its unique move of Milk Drink. Strangely speedy, you can actually put up some really good defenses and have a really good combo of using Defense Curl and Toxic, since Toxic can just be on anybody for whatever reason, making it ridiculously hard to deal with. Add Milk Drink and you have yourself a normal type tank. Otherwise, it doesn't have anything special in the terms of offense. It is mostly there just to tank your fights. It's kind of like an off-brand Snorlax. A really good normal type we can find here, actually, is Tauros. It is an insanely fast and powerful physical attacking normal type. It can be stupidly good as a sweeper, and weirdly enough, it learns a lot of good special moves like Ice Beam, Thunderbolt, and Flamethrower, which is really weird, but I would highly suggest putting, once we are able to get it at least, Earthquake for coverage, and Return. This thing with Return is stupid. It is really good, it has a really good attack stat, and Return just complements it for all of that. Highly recommend it. At a 1% chance for some ungodly reason is Snubble. No. It does bolster a pretty impressive attack stat, but it is really slow and frail, making it kind of hard to use compared to all the other normal types. Along with that, it just doesn't do anything much different than the other normal types. I guess there's the nice thing of it being able to learn the Elemental Fang moves, but why would you ever use that? Just use other Pokemon for that. The last Pokemon on this route that's due is, strangely, a SoulSilver exclusive of Meowth. Yeah, weirdly this thing's SoulSilver exclusive. It's a weird normal type that kind of just feels out of place here. While it's not terrible, it doesn't get much good moves, and there's limited strategies with this thing besides using Fake Out. The only coverage move it also gets are Dark moves and Power Gem for some reason. Otherwise, it's not bad, but it's very outclassed, especially since Tauros and Snubble are here. Psyduck. You can also get this with Surfing, but it faces a similar problem that Goldeen has, except for more of a special attacking orientation. It has a good special attack stat and can take advantage of special moves like Surf and Hydro Pump. Weirdly enough, it also gets good coverage in TMs such as Psychic and Ice Beam. However, kind of like Goldeen, a lot of the good moves are locked behind TMs, and those are locked behind either post-game or at the game corner. So, it's alright, it's just not amazing. However, it does have the nice ability of Cloud 9, so if you want to use it for that instance, you can. A Voltorb here. It is one of the fastest Pokemon ever. It's a great pure electric type. While offensively it leaves much to desire, it can get some pretty good moves like Spark and Light Screen. Along with that, it can use some of the last resort moves like Explosion. Many of its good moves, however, are locked behind TM, so you do have to worry about that if you want to make this thing good. However, if you want to have a challenge and have some fun, Voltorb is for you. It's the earliest chance you can ever get a Voltorb here. And talking about another Pokemon you can get in Olivine City, by fishing you can find Krabby. It is strangely a monster of a physical water type. While frail, it can get stupidly powerful moves that take advantage of its physical prowess, such as Crab Hammer. However, its amazing moves are either locked behind TMs or behind high levels, so it is going to suffer for a while. If you want a good challenge as well with this thing, use it. By surfing on the water on Olivine City, and it's a rare spawn, you can find Tentacruel. The evolved form of Tentacool, it's still a really great Pokemon, it's just better Tentacool. It's a good water poison type that is pretty tanky, learns some pretty decent moves, and all around, it's not a bad Pokemon. It's not nearly as offensive as other Pokemon can be, and, well, Tentacruel's kind of more of a gimmicky thing than anything else, but that doesn't mean it's still bad. It's still a great water poison type if you still need one at this point. While fishing in Olivine City with the Good Rod, you can find Corsola. No. It's a water rock type, and its only gimmick is just being tanky. It learns really bad moves and is extremely weak offensively. I just don't bother with this thing. It has nothing going for it. One last one you can find if you fish with the Good Rod at night, I believe this is also a 3% chance, you can find Staryu. Staryu is awesome. Now, granted, it's a pain in the ass to get in this game, and its evolution is kind of annoying if you don't go and do the Pokeathlon Dome stuff. However, once it evolves, it becomes one of the best special attacking water psychic types ever. Simply because it is extremely fast, it hits like a truck, and it's very unpredictable. It can learn really crazy stuff like Thunderbolt, Psychic. I think it can even learn Flamethrower for some reason. It can learn pretty dumb stuff. And therefore, I highly suggest it if you still need a water type. I did consider using this Pokemon as well, but just due to how rare it is at this point in the game, there is a better place to go and get it in the future. I would just say hold off if you're going to get a Staryu later. For some reason, you can find Mantine here. A ridiculously, specially defensive tank. It's not a bad water flying type as most people make it out to be. It can learn some basic moves like Wing Attack and Water Pulse while also getting some good coverage in TMs such as Ice Beam and even Earthquake. However, its physical attack is pitiful at best and is extremely slow, so you're never going to be going first with that thing. It's not bad, but when it comes to water flying types, there are definitely better options like Gyarados, which is not going to be too far into the future for. Another good Pokemon you can find here is Chinchou. It's actually one of my favorite water types. I love this thing. Due to its typing of water and electric, it can be a really good coverage Pokemon. It can learn Surf, Signal Beam, Thunderbolt, Ice Beam, and other really good special attacking moves. Keep in mind, though, that its natural move pool only has water and electric moves besides Signal Beam, so it's pretty bland on that end. Along with that, its stats are kind of meh, and it is also pretty frail. So, personally, try to get one with Volt Absorb, and you'll be good, because, it gives it straight up immunity to electric moves, and Illuminate just sucks. The ability of Illuminate just raises the encounter rate when you're outside in the field, so definitely don't go for Illuminate. The last Pokemon you can get here, and it's a stupidly rare spawn of a 3% with the Good Rod, is Shelter. I was talking briefly about Shelter a little bit, but Shelter is a really good physical tank. It's actually a really good ice and water type. Most well known for its competitive nature as well. It is a ridiculous tank with decent physical offense. As such, its best moves are definitely going to be Ice Shard, Icicle Spear, and Iron Defense, personally. Here's the thing that makes it special, though. Naturally, Shelter gets Icicle Spear at level 13, so you may need to either breed for one or hope that the one you catch has Icicle Spear on it. But the other thing, its ability of Skill Link makes it to where all multi-type hit moves will hit for the maximum amount of hits. That is really good because Icicle Spear, 1, is stab, and 2, Ice is just a really good offensive typing. A lot of Pokemon are weak to Ice, so it could be a really good method of using Skill Link with Icicle Spear and maybe setting up with defenses and even making it a Toxic Staller. It's not a bad Pokemon at all, and it's very well used competitively, even to this day. So, highly recommend it. Shucky the Shuckle! Shuckle! As much as I want to suggest this Bug Rock type, I just can't. It has insane defense and special defense. It is stupidly good on those ends. Otherwise, every other stat is complete garbage, even worse than Sunkerns. As such, it's mostly a staller of all stallers, and it kind of just does nothing. Shuckle wins by doing absolutely nothing. So, give it Toxic, give it some more defense boosting stuff, kind of like with the Shelter. Just don't expect to be damaging things with this guy. You're going to be using Toxic and the such. Golbat. It's the evolved form of Zubat, and while I usually would recommend skipping the evolution to Golbat, I wouldn't in this case. Reason why is that Zubat's line relies on happiness to evolve fully into a Crobat, so getting a Golbat would just be bad because getting a Zubat and evolving it into a Golbat would generate more happiness rather than just getting the Golbat. Otherwise, it's there if you want it, I guess. You can also find Quagsire down here in the water, which I guess I mean, you've seen the Quagsire we've had thus far. Quagsire's awesome. Highly recommend it if you didn't or weren't able to get a Wooper before. Of Natu. Natu is a psychic flying type, which isn't terrible, but also not amazing. While it has a really unique typing at this point in the generations, most of the moves it learns are setup moves, and it doesn't learn Psychic until level 59. While it does have a good TM move pool since it is a Psychic type, so many good moves are locked until post-game, so you're going to be struggling with this thing for quite a while. Along with that, it's just not a good flying type since the only flying move it learns is Peck, of all things. As such, I don't really recommend it for the early game. If you want to use it later on, it's actually not bad. It has pretty good abilities as well, such as Synchronize. Of Lapras, who's just chilling in the water. It's a static encounter. Lapras is a great water and ice type Pokemon, super tanky. Has a ton of health and is a pretty good monster of a Pokemon. It can learn really good moves like Ice Beam and Hydro Pump. It's a great Pokemon to use against Dragon types as well, since, well, it's part Ice type. However, keep in mind that its Ice typing does give it a couple weaknesses to Rock and Fighting, but honestly, it can tear through a lot of things and otherwise will just tank it. Kingler here. The evolved form of Krabby, it is a ridiculously high attack stat physical attacker that is extremely frail. It's pretty good if you were going to use a Krabby. I honestly would just skip Krabby entirely and just go for Kingler. It's a really good Pokemon, surprisingly, and I highly recommend it. Just do be aware that it's not the fastest thing in the world, and it's also extremely frail, so be aware of that. Another evolved Pokemon you can find here is Graveler. It can't appear at night here, but it's... I would not grab this here specifically, because it is a rare spawn of like 4% for some reason. Along with that, there's just way better ways to get it. There's a lot more common ways to get it later in the future, so honestly, I would just not recommend it here. And another evolved Pokemon that we can find here is Machoke. A 4% chance. It's a really good fighting type, especially if we want to just skip over the, the Machop line. Machop is fine by itself, but Machoke hits like a truck. So, if you want to grab a Machoke here, and since it's super weird to find a Machop in this game, I highly recommend grabbing Machoke here, especially if you're going to just straight up evolve it. Another really good and weird spawn, it's a rare 2%, but you can find Steelix. The first time, well, besides Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum, it's the first time you can actually just straight up catch Steelixes in the wild for some reason. Steelix is ridiculously tanky. With its Steel Rock typing, it is insanely good. It's basically an Onix on steroids. So, and this is your only chance to actually get a Steelix in the wild, so you don't have to actually trade for it, thankfully. I would say I highly recommend it, especially if you're wanting to use this line, so there you go. The last Pokemon you can find here that is completely new is Misdreavus. Only appears at night at a 5% chance, stupidly. Misdreavus is okay. While it does get some good ghost moves and we can give it Shadow Ball later, it's just really frail. It's not good. It's very weak compared to other ghosts, especially Gengar. Along with that, you can't evolve it until post-game because that evolutionary item is locked off till post-game. Needless to say, you're going to be stuck with its first stage for a very long time. I guess it's nice that it does have the ability of Levitate, but who cares? Gengar does too. Spearow. It's the evolved form of Spearow. It's a decent physical attacking, flying, normal type Pokemon. If you want to skip Spearow's line, there you go. It's there. You can find Gloom here as well. Gloom, while itself is not bad, it does grant good evolutionary lines right off the bat. If you wanted to, it can immediately turn into a Vileplume with the Leaf Stone, which we now have access to, or into a Blossom with a Sunstone if you got one back from the bug catching contest. Highly recommend it if you want to go to either of those evolutionary lines. Girafarig is another new one, which is one of the weirdest typings at this point, because this is before they just put normal and then slapped whatever other subtyping with it. It's a really weird Pokemon. It's immune to Ghost, but it opens its weaknesses to Bug and Dark thanks to its Psychic type. It has decent moves it can learn. It's okay. It's not amazing. It's not terrible. It's alright. The last new Pokemon you can get here is Diglett. Diglett is an incredibly fast and physically strong ground-type Pokemon. It can do some serious damage on the first turn. Despite its limited move pool, it does get some powerful stuff from level-up moves such as Sucker Punch and even Earthquake. Do be aware that it is frail, but otherwise it's a good pure ground type if you just need something for that. Along with that, it does have one of the unique moves of Arena Trap, making it to where the opposing Pokemon cannot flee or, swap Pokemon. Might be helpful for something later. Keep that in mind. Peak. In the Peak area, we saw that when we first walked in, we can find Magnetons. It's pretty much the same thing that applies to, well, Magnemite. He's a really good Pokemon. You can't evolve him, unfortunately, into Magnezone in this gen, so you can't really do anything about that, but hey, it's here if you want it. It's a good Pokemon. Another new Pokemon you can get in the Peak biome is Wobbuffet. Wobbuffet will have another opportunity to get in the future, but it's kind of got a good thing going for it. It is a really gimmicky Psychic type, but it's super tanky, and it will... I'm getting a phone call from Alabama. Why? No. I'm looking on my phone trying to make sure I can look at the encounter rates and stuff. So, its gimmick is it has the moves Mirror Shot and Counter. What those moves do is, well, it's the name Counter. It will just, if you use Mirror Shot, it will counter any special type or special attacking move. Counter does physical, and it reflects a crap ton of damage back at the user. Or, well, at the opposing Pokemon, I should say. So, it can be really dangerous, especially in competitive fights, because you don't really know what the thing will use. However, you would have to require a lot of knowledge of movesets to really utilize the thing well. Otherwise, it's just a big gimmick. The biggest thing with it, though, is it does have the ability of Shadow Tag. So, if you don't want Pokemon to run away from you, there you go. I will say, though, while this is the earliest place you can catch it, there is a much easier method of catching it. I did not want to catch this Raticate, I am stupid. Starting off in the desert biome, you can find Cubone. A decently tanky ground type, it can be a powerhouse with the right moves. In this game, however, most of its really good moves are locked behind TMs, unfortunately, so at least it still has its signature move of Bone Meringue and Bone Rush, which are really good physical attacking ground type moves, but that's about it. It also can get the ability of Lightning Rod, so I just go for Rockhead, take advantage of recoil damage. Along with Cubone, you can find its evolved form of Marowak nearby, in the same area. Same thing kind of applies. I'm not really going to say much about Marowak, because it's just better Cubone. In the Plains biome, you can find Smeargle. One of the weirdest normal types. I mentioned him before in the Ruins of Alph. You can find him there. Its gimmick is that it only knows the move Sketch, and its entire move pool is based upon you using Sketch to copy moves of other opposing Pokemon. While, yes, it does sound really bad, and it is extremely hard to raise it as that, it can be a stupidly unpredictable and competitively viable Pokemon as a result. Because Sketch is not limited to just any move. It can take any move, including legendary exclusive moves like Spatial Rend or something like that. So, if you want something really funny and weird and have the time to just mess around with it, go ahead, get Smeargle. It's funny. In the Meadow biome, we can actually start getting Clefairy here. Clefairy is a balanced special attacking normal type. It's actually not a bad pick. Be aware that its move pool is really screwed when it's evolved, so make sure you at least get Meteor Mash and Light Screen before fully evolving it into a Clefable. As for its fully evolved form, it is a jack of all trades. It does decent damage, it can learn weirdly viable moves, it learns a lot of different things, weirdly enough, along with Fire Blast. It's not bad. Jigglypuff, however, is a more offensive and health-based version of Clefairy. It can also be a good powerhouse, however, its speed is bad and it can be pretty frail, so I do consider it a worse Clefairy in that regard. Not really much to say about Jigglypuff and Clefairy. Just make sure you have a Moonstone to evolve those if you're going to use one. Along with... I did not mean to use a Safari Ball, goddammit. Along with those two, you can find Skiploom. Don't catch this Magneton. Okay, good. You can find Skiploom as well in the same area of Meadow. God, no. Don't. No. I've talked about this with Hoppip. Skiploom is just... It's technically a little better, but there's really not much going for it. It's a grass flying type that has nothing to really show for it besides like Chlorophyll and Solar Beam. In the water, I believe it has water, but you can also find Marill here. This is probably one of the easier ways to find a Marill in this game, because Marill's really weird to find. It's a decent water type that can do a lot of stuff. While it does look lackluster, it has a really good ability of huge power, which just straight up just jacks its attack stat up. It does a lot more damage than you would think, especially as an Azumarill. To maximize this thing, however, breed to get it with the move of Belly Drum. This will maximize its attack stat, but have its HP. Unfortunately, this can only be accomplished by breeding it with the Poliwag family, so it can be difficult to actually get that move on it. However, it's not a bad Pokemon if you want to run with it. Learn some pretty good moves, and yeah, it has a decent... That ability of huge power is just amazing on it. Speaking with Poliwag, you can get Poliwhirl here. I was going to talk about Poliwhirl before, but there's really no point in talking about Poliwhirl until now. As I say with Poliwag, it's a good Pokemon. It's a good water type, and, well, with Poliwhirl here, you have an option of evolving it into a Poliwrath or a Politoad if you can. It's got pretty good viability. I do recommend it. In the forest biome, you can find Mr. Mime, a weirdly good psychic type, actually. It's purely a special attacker with crazy special defense for some reason. It mostly likes to set up, setting up moves like Light Screen and Reflect, then dealing some pretty decent damage with Psychic. However, it can be a powerhouse with Psychic as well with that, and it shares the beauty of Psychic types by learning a bunch of different types of moves, such as Thunderbolt, Shadow Ball, and Energy Ball. It is a little frail though, so just be careful when using this thing. Otherwise, it can be a good setuping Psychic type with pretty good unpredictability. In Swamp Biome, you can find Hypno. It's the evolved form of Drowsy. I guess if you want it here, it's fine. It's not that good of a Psychic type. It doesn't have anything to show for it. It's just very mediocre at best. At nighttime, you can find Murkrow in the swamp. Murkrow is pretty rare as it is, and it's a good dark flying type that can have good moves like Wing Attack and Feint Attack. It also learns some pretty interesting moves from TM, such as Steel Wing and Thief. However, kind of like Misdreavus, its full evolution is locked past post-game, so you're going to be stuck with a Murkrow for a long time. If you're going to use this thing, definitely put an Eviolite on it if you can get it, and get the ability of Super Luck on it. Super Luck is... Oh my god, there it is! Okay, that's the Pokemon I was trying to find. I'll talk more about Murkrow in a second. Larvitar can be found here. This is the peak biome, so it's going to go away from Swamp for a sec. Larvitar is stupidly powerful, and this is the earliest time you can actually find it. You can't really find this thing very easily, and not a lot of people know you can get it here. Please get it in the Pokeball. It is a monster of a pseudo-legendary. It is a really good Pokemon. I highly recommend trying to get it. It has really good moves while leveling up. And Tyranitar, its fully evolved form, is just overpowered as hell. It learns really good moves, has decent typing. Definitely go for it. The Arbok. We talked about Ekans before. It's better Ekans. It does pretty decent damage, but hey, if you want to skip this, hey, there's another Larvitar. If you want to skip Ekans' line, go for Arbok here. It's not a bad Pokemon, just very limited. In the marshland biome still, you can find Grimer. A tanky physical attacking poison type, its potential is just completely ruined by its move pool. Until you hit level 44 with the thing, you don't get any physical poison moves to take advantage of. Along with that, most of its TMs are special moves, which is really weird for it. Overall, it's not a bad Pokemon. There's just better poison types out there, especially since coughing and wheezing exist. Speaking of coughing and wheezing, you can also find wheezing here. It's good if you want to skip coughing's line. Wheezing's a great special defensive poison type Pokemon. Just, yeah, really not much to say with coughing. It's a good poison type. Now we've reached the biome that I'm in. Lickitung is a new Pokemon you can find here. This thing becomes a monster of a normal type, and becomes a really good Pokemon to use in Heart Gold and SoulSilver because of its new evolution of Licky Licky. Unlike other locked-off evolutions, Lickitung can just evolve into a Licky Licky once it learns its move of Rollout. Along with that, it can learn some really good moves like Power Whip and Rock Slide, making it a pretty good mixed attacker in that case. Keep in mind that its level up pool is pretty limited, so its level up moves are very limited, so yep, most amount of potential is going to be through TMs, like many Pokemon in this game. In the Rocky Beach biome, weirdly you can get Slowbro there. Don't know why you would get it here now when you could have gotten the Slowpoke a long time ago, but hey, if you want to skip Slowpoke's evolution line, there you go, Slowbro is there. Nothing bad with it, it's just kind of here. Next up, you have Doduo in the Rocky Beach. Doduo is surprisingly a good Pokemon. It's a fast, normal flying type sweeper and can be a good powerhouse with the right stuff. Some must-haves for the Pokemon are Drill Peck and Return, but its move pool is very limited, so just be aware of that like most normal flying type Pokemon. But here's the thing. Tell me how the hell this thing can learn Fly. Seriously, why? It has no wings! In the Wasteland biome, like we saw before, you can get a Kangaskhan. One of the rarest and sought-after normal types, it is quite destructive. Learning ridiculous moves like Outrage, it can also take advantage of moves like Return and Earthquake. Earthquake from TMs. Highly recommended if you just want an overpowered normal type. It's tanky, it has a lot of attack. It's just really stupidly good. It is quite slow for what it is though, so be aware of that, but along with that, it can also get the ability of Scrappy, which allows it to hit ghost type moves with normal type moves. Or hit ghost types with normal type moves, that's what I'm trying to say. So, nothing can hide from this thing. Last few bit of Pokemon, we have the Savannah biome of Rhyhorn. There is easier ways of getting Rhyhorn in the future, but the earliest is here. It's a tanky rock ground type and becomes a physical tank and powerhouse. Like most ground types, it does learn the basic Earthquake and Stone Edge. Weirdly enough, it can also get Mega Horn for some reason, so if you're gonna go up against a Psychic type, there you go. While its evolved form into Rhydon is great, it is unfortunately locked off from its fully evolved form of Rhyperior until post-game, because the item doesn't pop up until post-game. So, unless if you want to trade for somebody in Diamond and Pearl, you're going to be stuck with Rhydon for a bit. Just don't get this thing with the ability of Lightning Rod. It already is immune to that. In the wetland area of Golduck. It's the evolved form of Psyduck, and it can only appear at nighttime here. Again, it's kind of just nice if you want to skip out on Psyduck's evolution, just go straight to Golduck. It's weirdly a good Pokemon. It learns a lot of different types of moves. Weirdly, it can learn Psychic. It has a really good ability. Really nothing wrong to say about it. It's just middle-of-the-road good water type. You can find Mankey here. Mankey is a really strong fighting type. Learns some pretty powerful stuff like Thrash and Close Combat. It's strangely one of the few Pokemon that can also learn the move Punishment, sharing that with Arceus of all things. Along with that, it's just a really solid fighting type. There's really not much to say. It has really good abilities as well, such as Anger Point, which just raises its attack if it gets hit by a crit move. It's not bad. It's a really good Pokemon. I actually envy Heart Gold players of this because, again, Mankey's a really good Pokemon. Out in the water, you can actually find Seeking there. I've talked a bit about Goldeen. Seeking is just better Goldeen. Really not much to say about it besides the fact that it can learn Mega Horn at one point. There is that, I guess. Weirdly, Flaffy. Flaffy is awesome. It's the evolved form of Mareep, so you don't have to deal with Mareep. It gets a close evolution into Ampharos here. It's pretty good. It's an all-around great electric type. Just keep in mind that its moves are not that varied, so you'll have to worry about that. But I digress. It's a good Pokemon. Area, you can catch normal Gyarados here. Unlike its really bad counterpart of Magikarp, Gyarados is a strong Pokemon. Water flying type, so offensively really great against basically any other type that's not electric. It can deal some pretty damaging crap. It also has a wide variety of moves such as Bite and Crunch. You can get Ice Fang. Waterfall's a really great move for it. I think it can also learn Wing Attack for some reason. It's a great Pokemon. Along with that, it has the coveted ability of Intimidate, so not only do you have a destructive Pokemon, it also debuffs the target immediately. It's awesome for that. Highly recommend getting one, especially since you don't have to deal with Magikarp. This is your only opportunity to catch an Electrode out here. Electrode, as I've said with Voltorb, is an extremely fast physical attacking electric type Pokemon. It can do some damage while being very speedy at the same time. Along with that, it's a good use of Explosion since it usually goes off on the first turn. So if you just need a giant chunk of damage right off the gate, Electrode's actually pretty good. Especially since that right here, you could just skip Voltorb's line altogether and just get the Electrode. Just keep in mind that its moves are hard to get because most of its good moves are through TMs, so there is that caveat. Otherwise, I do suggest it. Actually now catch Weepinbell here. I've said my piece with Bellsprout. I think Bellsprout's actually a good Pokemon, and Weepinbell's no exception. A grass poison type is a really good typing. It's just a beefed up Bellsprout. It has good moves. If you have a Leaf Stone, it's immediately evolvable into Victory Bell. It's a good Pokemon. It does good damage. It's a weird physical grass type, but you can make it work. It's not bad. A completely new Pokemon here. I just got disabled. You suck. A completely new Pokemon here is Tangela. It's strangely a pretty good pure grass type. While currently a frail super sweeper, yes, a frail special sweeper, it can evolve into a pretty balanced tank now that it has the evolution of Tangrowth. It learns a wide range of moves from TMs and can learn some pretty powerful stab moves from leveling up like Power Whip. Along with that, it evolves easily thanks to its evolution move being learned at level 33. However, keep in mind that its usefulness is completely limited due to how late in the story the Pokemon shows up. Along with that, grass types are just not as helpful as they should be in this generation especially, so just keep that in mind with Tangela. It's going to be a little difficult to evolve and level up, but it's there if you want it. The last new Pokemon you can get here, and weirdly enough, it is only found here at a 2% chance with the Good Rod, is Remoraid. Remoraid, at best, is gimmicky. It mostly becomes a mixed attacker when it fully evolves into its, well, evolved form of Octillery. It learns some pretty coveted moves naturally, like Ice Beam and even Hyper Beam for some reason. Along with that, it gets its own unique move of Octazooka when it evolves, which has a 50% chance to lower the foe's accuracy. However, its mixed attacking prowess basically fails due to it primarily learning special moves throughout its move pool. Plus, it's pretty frail and it's not fast, so use it at your own risk. Personally, I'm not saying it's worth it. However, I will say that if you do get one, try to get one with the ability of Sniper. It is quite an overpowered ability. Delibird. Ugh. Delibird? No, just don't use this thing. It's an ice flying type, which sounds great until you realize that it's an ice flying type, which means lots of weaknesses and overall just sucks. Like, it only has one move to its disposal as well, which is Present. And it's completely random on if it will damage the opponent. Well, it can actually heal the opponent. And it's just not good. Present sucks as it is. It's very gimmicky. It can learn other moves, but why bother? There's so many other good flying type Pokemon out in existence, and there's way better ice type Pokemon that you can find. And for some reason, the thing can learn Fly. I don't get it either. Along with that, it's also exclusive to SoulSilver, so Heart Gold players, you don't ever have to worry about seeing this thing, thankfully. Now, an actually good ice type is Swinub, an ice ground type that we saw Price use. It's a physical powerhouse. Learns some great moves and it can get the really coveted moves of Ice Fang and Earthquake naturally. Keep in mind though that it is slow, but if you want it to take advantage of its slowness, you want to get one with Snow Cloak and give it Hail. There's really no excuse to not have Hail because, well, Price gives it to you. It's a really good powerhouse, and it becomes an evasion tank through Snow Cloak and Hail. It's awesome. Along with that, it's got really good type coverage. Just keep in mind that it does have a lot of weaknesses due to it being a ground ice type, so be wary of that. Along with that, too, there is its new evolution of Mamoswine, so it even makes it a better Pokemon. So, again, just keep all that in mind. It's a good Pokemon. The last new Pokemon you can find here is Jinx. Okay, hear me out. Jinx, despite its known frailty and also known ugliness, is actually really good. It's actually a great Psychic Ice type. The reason I say this, Psychic Ice is destructive beyond belief. Not only does it get stabbed through Psychic, it also gets stabbed through Ice Beam. And since it's a Psychic type, it can learn a lot of weird variety of moves like Energy Ball, Focus Blast, Shadow Ball. It can be extremely unpredictable because it's a Psychic type. As such, it is meant to be a special type glass cannon, or a special glass cannon. It is very frail, though, to keep that in mind. It's also extremely hard to find for whatever reason, so you have to keep that in mind when actually hunting for one. It's not exactly the easiest Pokemon to find. Along with that, due to it being part Ice type, it has a lot of weaknesses along with its weaknesses coverage by, well, its Psychic typing. Yeah. Dude, for personal opinions though, I hate this thing's design. It freaks me out. That's a horrible trade, and if you somehow have a Dragonair, you can get Dodrio. Why? No. Dodrio is good, don't get me wrong, but why get it here? For spoilers, you can get Dodrio pretty, not too much further into the future. No, that's a horrible trade. Actually, we can get Dodrio now, I think. In Heart Gold exclusively, you can find Glygars here. I wish I could talk good about this thing. Unfortunately, I just can't. It's a unique typed Pokemon of ground flying, which wouldn't be seen until Pokemon Black and White. Its move pool is very strangely limited, so TM usage is basically necessary. While that's not horrible, it's not the best in the world. Along with that, the really bad thing is that its new evolutionary item is not obtainable in the main journey at all, so it's stuck as a Gligar until post-game, which is so stupid. Personally, unless if you're able to get its evolution item through Diamond, Pearl, or Platinum, I would just pass on it. There's other flying type Pokemon, and from way earlier on as well. In SoulSilver, you can get Skarmory here. Skarmory is actually one of my favorite Pokemon. It's an awesome tank. It has a really good typing of Steel Flying, which is really good defensively and offensively. And because of that, it has two immunities, that being Ground and Poison, along with several resistances. It can also get really good setup moves like Spikes and Toxic Spikes. However, most of its offense depends on TMs and is a physical attacker, which is strange for flying types, so while it's not known for being a powerhouse, it's a very solid option for a tanky flyer. And going into another Heart Gold exclusive, Phanpy can show up here. SoulSilver really misses out on this Pokemon because it's a really good one. It becomes a stupidly tanky physical cannon. It hits really hard, it's a pure ground type, so it learns really good moves, and it actually has a weird variety of moves. While it can learn naturally Earthquake and Slam, it can also be taught Thunderfang and Firefang through move tutors. It's really strange, but it's also really nice for that. Only bad thing is that it shows up so late in the journey that it really misses its opportunity to be a good Pokemon. On a team, I should say. However, if you want to deal with catch-up on that thing, then I highly grab it here. For the opposite, in SoulSilver exclusively, you can get Teddy Ursa here. This thing is a powerhouse, and it was one of the normal type Pokemon I was hinting when referring to the Silk Scarf. This thing can annihilate teams. It's a pure normal type, and with its stab of return, it can destroy everything in its path stupidly. It has also really good coverage moves through TMs such as Earthquake and Brick Break. However, kind of like Phanpy, it has the problem of showing up too late in the journey, so it doesn't get too much usage of being a really good party member until the very end. It's still a great Pokemon though, highly recommend it. There are places where you can surf on. One of the encounters here is Seal. It's a water type that isn't horrible, but it's easily outclassed by other Pokemon. It's a weirdly mixed attacker that I guess can learn Ice Beam naturally, which is a coveted move. Otherwise, it's mostly just sort of tanky and only weak to grass and electric moves, at least until it has its fully evolved form of, Dugong, in which case it's weak to fighting and steel. I guess the nice thing too is that it does have thick fat, but there's so many other better water types and a lot better ice types. Another crazy Pokemon, and this is only through, I believe, fishing, is Horsey. It turns into a crazy balanced water dragon type Pokemon that we've seen before of Kingdra. It's a really cool Pokemon that only has the weakness of dragon once it becomes a Kingdra. While it can be whatever you want it to be, I highly suggest turning it into a special attacker because it can take advantage of Surf, Ice Beam, and Dragon Pulse. Along with that, its ability of Sniper makes it stupidly overpowered because in Gen 4, that makes it to where it triples the power of moves that land a crit. It was changed in later games, but in this game, it is triple the damage of the normal move when you land a crit, which is stupid. Like previous entries, however, it does show up late, so it doesn't really have a chance to shine until the end of the journey, unfortunately. Along with that, its fully evolved form requires both an item that is extremely hard to get and also trading, so there is that as well. Lugia, Guardian of the Seas, is a ridiculously tanky legendary Pokemon. Strangely, is not a water type, it's a flying psychic. It is a ruthless attacker with strong moves, naturally learning moves such as Hydro Pump and its signature move of Aeroblast. You definitely want a special attacking nature on this beast. It learns an incredible amount of useful TMs such as Psychic, Thunderbolt, and Ice Beams. There's not a lot of things bad to say about Lugia. So much so that it was very well known for being a competitive monster. While it's not packing the most amount of offensive stats, its sturdiness more than makes up for that. Along with its ability of pressure, it's a force to be reckoned with. Entei. A more physical version of all of the three roamers. We'll talk about the other roamers in a second. This is a really good fire type that is bogged down by the physical special split. While it is the slowest of the bunch, it can deal some heavy damage with a decently varied move pool. However, the only problem is that it is a physical fire type, meaning it only has the advantage of that attack stat from one fire move, which is Fire Fang. Therefore, it's not going to be taking much advantage of its physical prowess, but it can learn other pretty good physical moves. But yeah, no physical stab unless if you're using Fire Fang. Raikou, an incredibly fast pure electric type. This thing is amazing if you need an electric type. With good special attack and speed, you'll likely move first and land powerful thunderbolts as a result. However, do keep in mind that most of its move pool is filled with electric moves, except for its ability to learn Shadow Ball through TMs for some reason. However, this thing is amazing as an electric type. So much so that it is constantly used for speedruns to just wipe the floor with everything for the rest of the game. It can easily carry you throughout the rest of the game here. It's awesome. And that is Ponyta. Why couldn't this thing be earlier on in the game? Seriously. It's a pure fire type and is fast and physically strong. Unfortunately, its move pool is very limited, but it can learn some good coverage moves naturally, like Mega Horn, Poison Jab, and Bounce. However, it is mostly known for hard-hitting moves like Flare Blitz, so be aware of potential hitting yourself in the future. Along with that, it shows up so late to be really that useful. As a fire type, it's hard to use because it evolves at level 40 for some ungodly reason. We haven't even made it to that level yet, although we are pretty close. So, at least it has a nice thing of getting Flash Fire, which is there, I guess. It's really kind of, like I said, Ponyta is just kind of here. It should have shown up a long time ago, but there's not really much to say about it besides it's a good fire type if you're willing to train it up. First of all is Donphan. We've talked about Donphan before, Heart Gold exclusive only. Yeah, it's just better fan paint. It's a good physical tank, glass cannon, does a lot of damage, really good pure ground type. Highly recommend it, despite the fact that it shows up so late in the game that's not really that helpful. For SoulSilver players, you have Ursaring. Ursaring I've talked about with Teddiursa. It is a normal powerhouse. It is amazing. I love Ursaring. Give that thing Return and a Silk Scarf, and you will tear through enemies like it's nothing. Tyrogue. Tyrogue is a very unique fighting type that can only be here in Mount Mortar for some reason. Its gimmick is that it evolves into different Pokemon depending on the stats once it hits level 20. For example, if you want a physical powerhouse, aiming for a Hitmonlee is for you. Hitmonchan is more defensive, while Hitmontop is a balanced of the two. As such, it's a unique fighter that can cover many roles depending on how you evolve it. However, due to its limited moves, along with depending on its evolution, it is hard to raise, so be careful when raising this thing, and kind of just know what you want for what Pokemon you want it to evolve it into. Nice thing though, it can get the ability of Guts, which in this case we actually got, so I highly recommend that. Houndour can be found here finally. We've seen this a couple times in Johto from an Elite Four member and also the basically leader of Team Rocket. Houndour is a stupidly powerful fire dark type and would have been amazing in Johto if it would show up there. It learned some great moves naturally like Flamethrower and Nasty Plot. Along with that, due to its typing, it gets several resistances and an immunity to Psychic. So, if you're still missing a team member and you need a darker fire type, highly recommend grabbing it here. Another new encounter too is Persian. Why? We could have gotten Meowth a long time ago. I believe this is also SoulSilver exclusive. We could have gotten Meowth way earlier in the game, and Persian's just not that great, especially at this point in the game. It's too late for it. Porygon is a very strange normal type Pokemon. Despite being a normal type, it acts like a psychic type that learns a bunch of electric moves. Porygon's line is meant to be very unpredictable, for it can learn a wide range of moves through TMs as well, kind of like psychic types. However, its evolution requires trading and is a steep purchase requirement that's really just not worth it. If you really want it, just get one from Pokemon Platinum and trade it over if you can. You get that Pokemon literally for free in that game. It has the ability, or it can have the abilities of Trace and Download, which honestly, I prefer Download because it's a free buff right off the gate. And again, it evolves while holding an upgrade, and again when holding a Dubious Disc. I think we'll be able to get the Dubious Disc later. Porygon's not bad, it's just, why here now? That and an encounter of Muck. It's the first time we're actually able to catch Muck. You can refer back to Grimer's bio when we first saw it, but it's not bad. It's just way too late for this thing to be useful at this point. You're way better off having a Grimer for a long time ago. Along with that, Grimer's Lion has the problem of learning special poison type moves very late in their lifespan, so they're not bad. They just have really bad potential. There is a chance to find Nidorina in Nidorino here. Well, I'll start with Nidorina. Why? It's weird enough that I'm having to give this a bio because this isn't catchable in Johto. I can't simply say to go and look at Nidoran stats because it's just been so long since we talked about the Nidorans. Nidorino takes a more balanced approach compared to Nidorino, so it is slightly more tanky compared to Nidorino at the cost of being less physically good, I guess. It's not as good as an attacker. It's not bad at all. Nidorino, I do think is better, but why grab it here? We have had since after Goldenrod to be able to get one. It should have been evolved and turned into a Nidoking or a Queen at this point. So why get it here? As extended with Nidorino, it's just a more offensive Nidorino, but again, why? I guess if you really wanted to skip the evolution if you're just going for the Dex completion, but it's just as easy just to level up a Nidorino. A Nidoran. I can't speak today. It's just as easy just to level up a Nidoran and turn it into Nidorina and Nidorino. So, I just don't get it. Of Chansey. Holy health, Batman! This thing is known for being stupidly tanky and annoying because of its good special defense. Oh god, that's using fly. I need to swap. Its evolved form jacks this thing up to 11, making it one of the most annoying Pokemon to fight, especially in Gen 4, because of how slow the HP scrolling is in this generation. As for usability, it's definitely not an attacker, but it weirdly has a usable special attack. However, here's my suggestion. Use this thing as a Toxic Staller and a setup Pokemon. That is what it is beautiful at, because it takes forever to kill this thing, and Toxic will just make it easier to take down other Pokemon with it. It's a lot easier to get with the Super Rod, so that's why I'm going to cover Seadra now. Seadra, as extended with Horsea, is really good. You skip its evolution of Horsea, so you don't have to worry about leveling it up. I believe it's just a pure water type, but it becomes a water dragon type, which is an amazing typing. Really ridiculously powerful. And there's not a lot of weaknesses it has. It's a very offensive Pokemon as well. It's a very good Pokemon. The only downside is that its full evolution requires Dragon Scale, which can only be obtained from either Dragon's Den with a random chance or random chance. Well, actually, it's just one on the floor in Dragon's Den, I believe, and then it's either Dragon's Den or Mount Moore. I can't remember, but you can also get it from Horseys that may be holding the item, which is very rare, so keep that in mind if you're wanting to get a Kingdra. Now, for one that's actually a new encounter, and I talked about it with Chinchou, it's Lantern! All the way over in Johto. You can basically find it in most routes, namely New Bark Town, or the water in New Bark Town, and basically anywhere you can find it Chinchou. I like Lantern a lot. I like its typing a lot. Now, granted, its stats are not the greatest in the world, needless to say, but it's not bad. It's not a bad Pokemon. It has a lot of type coverage thanks to water and electric. It has a lot of weird resistances as a result as well. There's really not much bad to say with it, besides that it just doesn't have the greatest stats in the world. One of them is Kadabra. If you want more specifics, see Abra's bio way back when we came up before Goldenrod City. Kadabra is really good, and I mean, it has a really high special attack stat. You completely skip the whole Abra deal, because Abra can't really attack anything until it evolves. It's not bad, but why here? When you could have gotten Abra a long time ago and already have it evolved at this point. I guess it's here if you're just going for Dex completion, but for team members, I don't suggest it. And at nighttime, you can find Haunters here. See Ghastly's bio way back in, I believe it was Sprout Tower when we first saw Ghastly for more specifics, but it's kind of the same deal with Kadabra in this route. It's not a bad Pokemon, it's a really good Ghost Poison type, it's very fast, it's a good attacker. But again, why here? You could have had a Haunter a long time ago. Like, when we first were able to get Ghastly. It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. Along with that, both of them have the caveat of being forced to trade to get their final evolution, so there is that caveat as well, but again, I just wouldn't suggest it here unless if you're trying to fill out the decks. In Heart Gold, exclusively, you can find Primeape here. Why? If you want more context, refer to Mankey's bio way back. I think it was when we started going towards the route where Mount Border is. It's kind of the problem that Kadabra and Haunter have here. Why get this here when you could have had a Mankey a long time ago? At this point, it would have been a Primeape at this point. So, why? It's not a bad Pokemon, it just shows up way too late here. Electabuzz is finally catchable in this game. You have to wait till here to get one of these guys. It's a great electric type that can cover many uses. If you don't plan on evolving it, it is more of a special attacker, so give it its natural Thunderbolt from leveling up, and teach it some good special moves like Focus Blast and Signal Beam. However, if you do evolve it, it becomes a tanky physical attacker, so give that thing Thunder Punch if you can. While it is good, it suffers by appearing so late that it barely gets any spotlight in this journey. As such, it's good, but it's too late to be useful. Venomoth. I'm just gonna repeat what my bio page for this says in my notes, into which I repeat in all caps. Once again, too late and could be easily gotten early on. Venomoth has really nothing going for it. If you want to get more specifics, refer to Venonat's bio. It's not bad, but why here? It's too late for the game. It's not even helpful at this point. It's just here. This here is Big Chungus himself, Snorlax. A stupidly chunky normal type. It's one of the best normal types of this generation. With its crazy HP stat and good attack and special defense, it's a really awkward Pokemon to fight. Without a dedicated fighting type, it's known to tank hits from anything and recover its health usually just by using rest. Slap on its ability of Thick Fat, which halves the power of fire and ice moves that hit it, and with the thing that it's holding of Leftovers, which recovers HP every turn, you have yourself a dumbly powerful tank that has really nothing to do. Like, it's powerful in its own right, and there's really nothing else to say. It's just dumb. Suicune, the final of the legendary dog trio, and, well, legendary beast trio, I should say. It's a more tanky option between Raikou and Entei, and it's a really good water type that can deal some heavy damage. Naturally learning great moves such as Ice Fang, Hydro Pump, and Blizzard, it pairs greatly with its wide range of TMs. However, it is not known for its offensive prowess, for it's mostly a tank that can cover itself with decent special attack. If you're looking for a powerhouse, Suicune does not do that, but it is a great water type that has strangely good coverage. It's kind of like a psychic basically a psychic type with water moves. It's kind of cool. In SoulSilver, you will find Latios roaming Kanto. Latios is a fast dragon psychic type that has a strong special attack. He is infamous for competitive battling, especially since of his unique typing. As such, he can learn a stupidly wide range of moves and his signature move of Luster Purge, a 5 PP 70 power move that has a 50% chance of lowering the opponent's special defense by a stage. Lastly, he becomes even more awkward to deal with because of his ability of Levitate, making him immune to ground-type moves. This becomes even more powerful if you find a Soul Dew which raises its special attack and special defense of both Latios and Latias by 50%. Sadly, that item is locked behind an event in this game, but this thing is awesome without it. It's stupidly powerful, it's extremely fast, has really good moves, there's nothing bad to say about Latios. For Heart Gold players, you'll find Latias, the more cute version of Latios, I guess you could say. It's a more especially defensive option compared to Latios, and she's good in her own right. Besides that, her difference in stats, she's not much different than Latios, but she does get her own signature move of Mist Ball, which is basically Luster Purge but lowers the special attack on an opponent rather than special defense. As such, many of the same things can be said about Latias from Latios. She's just not as offensively strong as Latios is. She also shares the same ability with Latios, which is really good. Don't sleep on Latias. She's not a bad Pokemon, just she is overshadowed by her pretty overpowered brother. You can find Ledian in the morning. Refer back to Ledia's bio way back when, but Ledian sucks. It has a cool move of Comet Punch. That's really all I can say about it. It's not a good Pokemon. As for Heart Gold players, at nighttime, you can find Ariadoses here. A lot better than the Ledian, but still, it falls under the line of shows up way too late to be useful, and you could have had this thing a long time ago in freaking Johto, so I don't recommend ever catching one here unless if you just need it for the dex, but even still, you could have just leveled up a Spinarak, come on. The Helix Fossil will give you Ammonite. Only recoverable in Heart Gold, it's mostly a tank that can hit hard with special moves. While it may be nice, it is easily outclassed by other water types, and since it shows up so freaking late, it's mostly there just to fill the decks rather than be a main team member. As such, I don't really recommend using it as a team member, but it's not a horrible Pokemon. It has its use cases. Along with that, it evolves really freaking slow, and it takes forever to get to its evolved form. As for the Dome Fossil in SoulSilver, that will recover Kabuto. It's more of a physical version of Ammonite. That name screws me up. Despite its really cool design, it is significantly worse than Ammonite's line because of its move pool. While it can take more advantage of rock-type moves, it sacrifices water moves which are more powerful. As such, I really wouldn't recommend this thing unless if you want a challenge, and again, it shows up so late to the point where it's really just not that useful. Although it does have the really cool ability of Battle Armor, which is basically its form of Shell Armor from Ammonite. For both versions, if you get the Old Amber, you can get Aerodactyl. Thankfully, it's obtainable in both games. This rock flying type is an absolute monster. We saw Lance use this thing against us. It's very fast and has a sizable attack stat. It takes advantage of really powerful moves like Rock Slide and Wing Attack. Even better, you can even use Heart Scales to teach each of the Elemental Fang moves, which is awesome. However, it shares the same fate at this point in the game where it shows up so late that it just doesn't get much to do. It doesn't have much time in the spotlight. Highly recommend it if you want something just stupidly powerful. As for the other weird fossils, if you get the Root Fossil in SoulSilver from the Cliff Cave place, I think it's Cliff Cave. Yeah, Cliff Cave. It's you get Lileep. It's one of the most awkward Pokemon to deal with because nobody remembers what this thing's typing is. It's a grass rock type that's really good typing, actually. It gives it stab with weird moves. It's awkward to deal with because nobody ever remembers what its typing is. However, it's not meant to be an attacker. It is super good at tanking stuff. As such, it is kind of hard to use because it's not an attacker, but it does have its uses, mostly competitive. As for the last one, in Heart Gold exclusively, through the Claw Fossil at Cliff Cave, you can get Anorith. SoulSilver misses out so much on Anorith. Its evolved form becomes a physical powerhouse with decent defenses. Along with its typing of Rock Bug, it is one of the few Pokemon that gets stab from both Stone Edge and X-Scissor. However, its natural learn pool is extremely limited, so you do need to use TMs to maximize this thing's prowess. Like everything at this point in the game, it shows up just way too late to be useful. It's good, but it's just not helpful now. There is a whole new counter of Pikachu. Yeah, the mascot of the series comes up this late in the game. At least it's not in black and white where it just doesn't show up at all. Despite being the mascot of Pokemon as a whole, it's really not a great electric type. It learns the basic electric moves naturally like Thunderbolt and Discharge, but it can also learn some decent coverage through TMs such as Iron Tail and Brick Break. The bad thing is that its stats are laughable because it is meant to be evolved into a Raichu at some point. But if you're wanting to stick with Pikachu itself because, I don't know, you want to be Ash, there's a 5% chance that Wild Pikachus will be holding an item called the Light Ball. The Light Ball is really good. It increases I believe it's the special attack and attack of Pikachus by 50%. It's really stupid, but it has to be a Pikachu. So, unless you can get a Pikachu with the Light Ball, either through catching a bunch of them or using Thief, I just say it's not worth it. Especially now, since we're this late in the game, there's only 2 gyms left. It doesn't really have any moment to shine. And that is actually what we're fighting right now. It's Furret. Okay, first of all, it's weird enough that Route 1 has a new encounter. It's weirder enough that it's a Johto Pokemon. While it's easily the most well-known internet Pokemon because of the whole meme of it, it's not great. If you want more specifics, see Sentret's bio. It's kind of just a mediocre normal type that doesn't really do much. I feel bad talking crap about it because I love Furret. Ho-Oh! He's stupidly OP. Holy stats Batman! This thing is an absolute monster of a fire flying type. Its defenses are monstrous and has no stat below 90, which is insane, especially for a legendary. It's an amazing mixed attacker that can deal huge damage. Along with this, it can learn a wide variety of moves through TM, such as Solar Beam and Thunderbolt for some reason. However, its main appeal is through its signature move, Sacred Flare. It's a 100 power, 95 accuracy physical move that has a 50% chance to burn the target. So it's stupidly powerful for that. Along with this, specifically for SoulSilver players, this thing is at level 70. So it's easily addable to your team to just wreak havoc throughout the rest of the journey. Keep in mind of its main 3 weaknesses, water and electric, and then quad weakness to rock. And you have yourself something just stupidly overpowered. It's ridiculous. Strangely, and that's Dugong. There's really not much to say about Dugong. It's just kind of just a better seal. Water ice type at least, so it has more coverage and I guess the added weakness of fighting. It's not bad, but God, it's way too late for this thing in the game. I mean, unless if you are already using a seal at this point, but I don't really care for it, to be honest with you. Articuno, first of the birds we're seeing. It's a very balanced ice flying type and is a force to be reckoned with. It learns great Ice-type moves such as Ice Beam and Blizzard, and is known to deal heavy special damage. Weirdly enough, it can also learn a bunch of weather moves such as Rain Dance, Sunny Day, and Sandstorm. Unfortunately, it does get horrible flying moves and is not rectified by its TM pool, so get used to using ice moves a lot. Besides being limited by that, it is an offensive beast with just a few weaknesses. Ice Flying is an amazing type. Zapdos is a crazy electric flying type. It's a unique typing at this point in the entirety of the series. It's really fast with a great special attack stat, taking advantage of moves like Discharge and Thunder. Weirdly enough, it can also learn Rain Dance naturally to take advantage of Thunder even more, but for some reason does not naturally learn Thunderbolt. Why, I don't know. However, most of the moves that it would benefit most of the moves it would benefit from do not benefit its special attack stats, so just keep that in mind. That's stuff like Drill Peck and the such. Otherwise, it has uncommon weaknesses such as Ice and Rock, so it's a great Pokemon to play around with, even to the point where it was very much used competitively. Is Rapidash, who technically really isn't that new because we've been able to get Ponyta for a long time. It's not bad. Rapidash is an amazing Pokemon. It's just, why get it here when you could have had a Rapidash a while ago? Could have had a Ponyta a long time ago. Along with that, Ponyta shows up so late in the game that it's just not that helpful as a fire type, especially at this point in the game now. Like, Rapidash is good, just why here? As for one Pokemon that's actually entirely new, Sneasel. Okay, I would like to recommend this thing. If it didn't show up at the end of the friggin' post-game, I have a lot of grievances with Sneasel. It's a very speedy and physically decent Dark Ice type. It's a really good Pokemon, but the problem is that it just shows up too late. This is the only time you're able to get Sneasel in the entire adventure legitimately. There's no way to get it at the Safari Zone. It doesn't show up anywhere else. And that's so bad for it, because there's no use for it. The only way to get any good use out of this thing would be trading it from Platinum or any of the other Sinnoh games. It learns a good variety of moves, especially with its newer evolution introduced in this generation. As such, in SoulSilver and Heart Gold, I can really only recommend it for competitive reasons, because it's too late to be helpful at this point. We are already champions twice over. The Fire Chicken himself, Moltres. It's another heavy special attacker that has a lot of balanced stats, weirdly. A fire flying type, and very unlike the other two birds, this one faces the issue of decent defense. While it can hit hard, it is frail and kinda slow, and while it can naturally learn good moves such as Flamethrower, Sunny Day, Solar Beam, and Air Slash, it's very limited on the TM side of things. This thing would be alright if it wasn't for Ho-Oh existing. It's very easily overshadowed by the existence of Ho-Oh. It's not a bad legendary, but Fire Flying's not exactly the most offensive of typings, and, well, Ho-Oh exists. And that's Parasect. God, no! Never use this thing unironically unless if you're using it to catch Pokemon. No. Okay. You gotta refer back to my Paris bio if you want to know more specific information. It's specifically when we go to Ilex Forest for the first time. It is garbage not only because of its dual typing of Grass and Psychic, yes, this is an Exeggutor. Grass and Bug, which makes it quad weak to flying and fire. Its ability of Dry Skin makes it octo weak to fire. Yeah, it's not good. It's horrible. Mewtwo. This thing is a monster that has been hiding in this cave all this time. Super solid defenses, insanely fast, and bolsters one of the best special attack stats in this generation. It naturally learns insane moves like Psychic and the new Aura Sphere at level 100. And since it's a Psychic type, it learns a ton of TMs such as Thunderbolt, Shadow Ball, Ice Beam, Solar Beam, Flamethrower, Focus Blast. You name it, it could probably learn it. As such, it is born to be unpredictable and stupidly powerful. And since its only weaknesses are either uncommon or can be covered, almost nothing can stop him. It is a monster. That being Pupitar. I don't really suggest going after Pupitar specifically. Here's my reasoning. For one, you could have gotten a Larvitar way back at the Safari Zone if you wanted to go through the pain of that, into which I did. Along with that, Larvitar's just here, and Pupitar doesn't evolve much later. Like, at this point in the game, you're going to be grinding everything up to a high level anyways, so you might as well just take the easy route and get Larvitar instead. There's really no point in Pupitar being here. First of all, with Bulbasaur, the #1 Pokemon in the National Dex. It's a solid grass poison type that can do some great stuff. I akin this Pokemon to a more offensive Chikorita, in that it can use a lot of powder moves and setup moves along with good damaging moves like Sludge Bomb that we saw from Red, and Petal Dance. Compared to the other two starters, however, it does lack in comparison historically, but since we're getting him so late in the game, it's mostly just a novelty to have Bulbasaur rather than a consideration for a new team member. As such, it's not bad, and Bulbasaur's very underrated. I love Bulbasaur, he's awesome. On the far left, we have Charmander, the most popular of the three for a good reason. Charmander eventually turns into the monstrous Charizard that we fought against literally last episode. Learning a lot of powerful moves like Flamethrower and Air Slash naturally, it's a great Pokemon that can clear house. Along with that, it can actually learn Fly now because Gen 1 is stupid. As such, there's not much to say about Charmander's whole line because everybody knows frickin' Charizard. We fought it twice, one with Lance and one with Red. Come on. And the last of the three, Squirtle, becomes the tank of the starters here. It's a great mixed attacker that can learn a wide variety of moves. It has its fair share of water moves, but weirdly can learn stuff like Flash Cannon and Ice Beam for some reason. If you want something tanky and fun, Squirtle is for you. It's very balanced of the two. If you choose the Green Stone, he will give you a Trico. A fast grass type known for its offensive capabilities, it does suffer a bit from its stats unfortunately. However, it is remedied a little bit through TM since it can learn Energy Ball and for some reason Dragon Pulse. Between the three starters, however, Trico is known to be the weakest option. Unfortunately, grass types are really just the weakest of the options. This guy just has a lot of weaknesses, and until he's fully evolved, he is very vulnerable to those weaknesses. But once he's fully evolved, he can be pretty unpredictable. And hey, if you bring him all the way over to friggin' Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire, have yourself a Mega Sceptile, I guess, for Dragon Grass type, but this is Gen 4 we're talking about. If you pick the Redstone, you will get a Torchic, wholly mixed attacker. While slightly more of a physical attacker, it can realistically do whatever it wants. Along with that, it learns the rare move of Blaze Kick, which is only shared by Hitmonlee. It learns a large variety of moves as well, such as Sky Uppercut and Brave Bird. It also turns into the firefighting type, which is stupidly good offensively. So much so that we had 3 whole generations of just firefighting types. It is easily the strongest of the Hoenn starters here. Unfortunately, because, I mean, fire's always the strongest of the bunch, and I kind of wish it wasn't like that all the time. As for the Blue Stone, Mudkip. I heard you like Mudkip. The way I could describe this is that it's more of a unique Quagsire. It does turn into the Water Ground type eventually turns into a Water Ground type, and learns similar moves to Quagsire such as Earthquake and Muddy Water. However, it does have the distinction of Hammer Arm that he gets at level 69. Nice. Otherwise, it's a tanky physical attacker that can do its job very well. it's just not much different from a Quagsire, unfortunately, and especially in this generation and with how late you get these guys, it's kind of pointless. This is more of a novelty pick between the 3 Hoenn starters. There you go. Beldum, holy crap. Yeah, I'm surprised you can get this too. It turns into the monstrous competitive Pokemon it is known for of Metagross. With crazy attack and defense stats, it also has so many resistances due to its Psychic Steel typing. However, do not make the mistake of making this a special attacker. This thing is absolutely a physical monster. As such, it learns really good physical moves like Zen Headbutt and Meteor Mash and Earthquake. While it is slow, it is a powerhouse that is difficult to take down. And it's a pseudo-legendary. It's very, very strong. And getting a fortress in this game is pretty easy. Just get a Pineco and level it up a little bit. Groudon. SoulSilver exclusive, it is a physical monster. It has an insane attack stat and huge physical defense. It causes havoc on the field easily. Along with that, since it's a pure ground type, it has very few exploitable weaknesses. Lastly, its ability of Drought, which overrides weather with Sunshine, nerfs water types and buffs itself without any effort. The only bad thing is that it learns no physical fire moves without the move tutor, so you do have to deal with special fire moves like Flamethrower, but it does have the coveted move of Eruption, a 150 power, 100 accuracy special fire move that does more damage at the higher health. It is easily a stupidly powerful legendary. If you're falling on a Heart Gold, you would instead get Kyogre. This thing is the special monster compared to, well, Groudon. It's pretty much the polar opposite of that thing. It bolsters a massive special attack stat with a very high special defense. Unlike Groudon, it learns a bigger variety of moves, such as its natural Ice Beam and Ancient Power. It also has a completely unique move of Water Spout, which is just Water-type Eruption. Unlike Groudon, Kyogre learns a huge variety of moves through TMs as well, weirdly learning Thunderbolt and even Brick Break for some reason. And, like Groudon, Kyogre gets a weather-changing effect called Drizzle from its ability, which summons rain. There's a reason this thing is still coveted for competitive battling. The last of the trio, Rayquaza. I refuse to call this thing Rayquaza, screw you, it's Rayquaza. The offensive best of the both of the worlds of Groudon and Kyogre. This flying dragon type is an absolute beast of an attacker. Bolsters equally insane attack and special attack, this thing holds no punches. As such, it can be anything you wish it to be offensively. Like Kyogre, it learns a huge variety of TMs and is as powerful as Groudon. Lastly, it has the unique ability of Airlock, which just negates weather effects, which is a coveted ability in competitive battling. While it lacks a unique move and can be frail compared to Groudon and Kyogre, it makes up for it by being just a ridiculously offensive Pokemon. On Thursdays, we have, during the bug catching contest, starting with Wurmple. It sucks. It's just a really bad bug type. I guess it's like Weedle, but Weedle's better than this thing. I guess the nice thing is that it can randomly evolve into Silcoon and Cascoon, and don't get on me about that. I will refer to that one video explaining the whole Cascoon, Silcoon evolutionary thing. It is basically random for Wurmple. But the whole evolutionary line for both of them just sucks. I guess it has the nice ability of Shield Dust, but the novelty of having a Wurmple just is more of a novelty. By extension, you can get Silcoon. Kind of the same thing as I said with Wurmple. At least it evolves into an okay bug type relatively soon. It evolves at level 10. Along with that, it has a nice ability of Shed Skin. It's kind of just the awkward evolution, just like Kakuna and Metapod are. And you can get Dustox. Why here when you can get Silcoon and not Cascoon? I don't get it. Despite its decent typing, it just sucks. Now, Dustox does have its uses. It is a bug poison type, which is a pretty good typing, but why use that when you have Beedrill existing, or why even use a bug type besides Heracross or Pinsir at all, or Scizor for that matter? And especially this late in the game, it's just kind of here. Now for some random ones, Nincada. It's a weirdly unique Pokemon. It's tanky for now, but it has the ability to grant 2 Pokemon upon its evolution, which is really cool. It can evolve into the stupidly fast Ninjask and the hard-to-kill Shedinja. Shedinja is awesome because it can only be hit by weakness moves. Otherwise, it's immune to everything else thanks to its ability. So, if you want some cool Pokemon, I'd recommend it. It has a pretty decent ability as well, and hey, it's got good evolutions. What can I say? They're good for competitive battling. Now for a pretty good rock band, Volbeat. And yes, it's an actual Pokemon. It doesn't do anything special besides, for some reason, learning the exclusive move of Manaphy's Tail Glow, weirdly. Otherwise, it's just not good. It has no good strategies to associate with it. And one of its abilities just straight up sucks because Illuminate is a horrible ability. Unless if you're shiny hunting, I guess. Kricketot! God, no. It's a pure bug type that only has the good move of Bide. It's a very gimmicky bug type and it just sucks. It has a funny cry, I guess, but yeah, why no? By extension of Kricketot, you have Kricketune. Besides having one of the best cries in all of Pokemon history, no, please God, no. It just doesn't do anything. It's not as bad as Paris, mind you, but still, it just doesn't do anything. Its biggest thing is Bide, which takes 3 turns to even land. It's stupid. And the last one is Combee, yet another horrible bug type. I will recommend immediately that if you're getting this, make sure it's female so you can evolve it into Vespiquen. Male Combees cannot evolve, and Vespiquen's actually pretty good. It has its unique moves of attack and defend order. It is weirdly tanky for what it is. And the nice thing with Combee is that it does have the ability of Honey Gather, which can make it hold honey at the end of the fight. Pointless in this game, but hey, if you're trying to grind honey, you can always send it over to Pokemon Diamond, Pearl, or Platinum, I guess. As for Saturday encounters, you can get Silcoon's alternate of Cascoon. It's pretty much just a similar thing. It's literally just a Silcoon. It's the same thing. Nothing really to say much here. It's an awkward mid-stage evolutionary bug type. That's all I can say. By extension, you get Beautifly. While it has good special attack, there are just better bug types in general. Well, better Pokemon in general. It's kind of just a budget Butterfree in my opinion. I guess it's nice if you like its design, but again, all of these Pokemon are mostly just there for novelty at this point in the game. Beautifly is not going to be doing any favors for you. And lastly, we got Illumise, the counterpart to Volbeat, and I refuse to call it Illumise. Illumise sounds cool. It's not much better than Volbeat. It technically is a better Volbeat, stat-wise, and I guess it has the nice ability of Tinted Lens, but there are much better bug types than this. Just get a better bug type. Again, it's here for novelty if you want it. Starting off with the bottom left corner of Dialga. Tanky and bolsters a really high special attack. It is a force to be reckoned with. It has a very unique typing of Steel Dragon that doesn't reappear until Pokemon Sword and Shield. It resists a ton of types and has immunity to poison as a result as well. It can annihilate things thanks to its really good plethora of great special moves, including its special move of Roar of Time. Overall, it's a great legendary to rock with. The only bad thing is that it's a little slow, but I'd rather have sturdiness for speed at that point. On the bottom right, you will receive the God of Time, Or no, that's Dialga. I'm stupid. Whatever. You would receive Palkia. It's a more offensive counterpart to Dialga and has a crazy special attack with good normal attack. You can essentially use any move you'd like with it. And very similar to Kingdra, it has very few weaknesses thanks to its water dragon typing. It's very awkward to deal with. With its very high variety of moves and its signature move of Spatial Rend, that's right, it's a god of space, I'm stupid, it can tear through teams easily. For the Renegades out there, the top corner will get you Giratina, my personal favorite. While it is the awkward third wheel, it has the most versatility out of each of the Pokemon here. In its altered form, it carries on its defenses and uses its takiness to deal heavy damage back. However, its origin form swaps its defenses with offenses, becoming a monster of a legendary. As such, I do kind of recommend keeping it in its origin form. That way it has 3 whole immunities, which is normal, fighting, and ground, because it has levitate for its ability when it is in its origin form. And it can deal heavy damage with its signature move of Shadow Force. It is made for true renegades who think Dialga and Palkia are just boring. As such, the altered form has the ability of pressure, origin form has the ability of levitate.